Welcome to Treasure Valley Podcast. I'm Chuck. Today's episode is brought to you by LowerGentry Studios. Here at LowerGentry Studios, we create thought-provoking content with integrity, and we enjoy every aspect because we're hedonists. You can go to www.lowergentrystudios.com to check out the latest in Treasure Valley film content, specifically from LowerGentry Studios, which includes a web series entitled Canyon County and a feature film entitled We Speak that's available on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and they're both very, very good.
Both of them. And we're completely unbiased. We were born without bias.
Yeah, we're as unbiased as the unbiased people in upper levels of government.
Oh, they're very unbiased.
I know.
Do you want to know
why we have the laws that protect, they follow the law. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, what makes today special?
I was hoping you were going to bring up laws. Today is special because in 1965, on July 30th, Lyndon B. Johnson, otherwise known as LBJ, who was our president, he signed Medicare and Medicaid into law. There's a bill that
was that
passed.
part of the war on poverty? Was that part of that whole thing?
It was, I don't know. Is that when it started?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it started in the Great Depression.
No. I mean, that's when they titled it. Yeah, they titled it like, we're in the war on poverty. And then later Nixon was like, we're in the war on drugs. And then they started doing lots of wars. And then they're just like, we're in the war versus everybody. Sorry. That was my Nixon. I like doing Nixon.
Yeah, he was good. I actually went down a rabbit hole when I was trying to investigate this Medicare Medicaid bill because I wanted to find out. As a libertarian, I'm very against government intervention. So, but actually, the cost of medical care had been going up prior to the signing of this bill, and it didn't start to spike until Nixon took us off the gold standard. And that's when it got really crazy. The cost of medical care, it just started to go through the roof. In 1971, I think.
Is that a correlative thing and not a causation thing, though?
I don't know. It is correlation, but
definitely. Guess what else happened during that time?
But it could be
Jaws came out,
and so the subsequent sequels.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg. I think Steven Spielberg upped the. It wasn't about the gold standard. It was about Steven Spielberg and Jaws.
It could have been.
Yeah, because everybody was scared to go in the ocean, and then all of a sudden everybody started going to the hospital more preemptively to be like, how do I get these sharks? I need shark
proofing.
Yeah, and then they're like, this is not like a thing, and then they say while they're there, they're like, well, I'll check my blood pressure and look me over for all this other stuff, and then it built up all of this need that was arbitrary, and then the medical prices started going up. So I think it mostly has to do with Jaws and not anything to do with the gold standard.
Richard Dreyfuss's fame.
Yeah, exactly. Or just Richard Dreyfuss. So thank you, Richard Dreyfuss, for ruining our medical system forever. Anyway, ready to do some events?
Let's talk about events going on.
What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on in the Treasure Valley?
What's going on in the Treasure Valley, Chuck?
You want to know?
Oh, my name's Elliot, by the way.
Hey, don't forget to introduce yourself because I'm a terrible host.
Yeah, Elliot Norton, and then that's Chuck O'Noctane, and together we run the Treasure Valley Podcast.
We probably should cover this in a specific order.
Yeah.
So that's the first event that's going on is that we have
a podcast that you're watching or listening to on iTunes.
Yes.
Sweet. We should actually do like a reverse order or a random order podcast. Where we mix up all of our sections and
We
stuff.
should actually just do random word podcasts, and then none of our sentences make sense, and we just say random words.
Makes sense.
Chicken.
Barbie.
Oh, I don't know. This seems like a little psychological. I don't know if we should do that. People will be analyzing
Child abuse.
People are like...
Mother help.
I'll just cry. It'll be a therapy session.
Yeah. All right, what's going on in the Treasure Valley?
Events. So the Goathead Fest is going on this weekend, August 2nd and 3rd, at Cecil D. Andrus Park, and then they're going to have a crazy parade at the state capitol.
Sweet.
So the Goathead Fest, which when we when we did the Idaho Matters, they were doing. We were recording our interview with Idaho Matters after theirs was going on live because they recorded our interview and theirs went on live. And they were with what was the names again? It was Jimmy Halliburton from the Boise Bicycle Project, and that guy was cool. Yes,
which you always imagine the guy that's running Boise Bicycle Project would be cool because it's so cool. Everybody just knows that it's cool. And then the only adjective that you can say is just it's either cool or rad or some sort of mid-90s compliment for the Boise
Mm-hmm.
Bicycle Project, or I guess you can say any compliment, but mostly it's those ones that I think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bikes, because they were invented in the 90s. And then Martha Brabeck, who works for the
Bicycles were invented, yes, in the 90s.
Such a 90s thing, along with rollerblades, which
Yeah.
everybody knows. If you've been following the podcast, I'm a giant fan of rollerblades.
Okay.
Martha Brabeck's at Boise, so those two are heading it, or at least they're the faces of the Goathead Fest.
Yeah.
Which, so Martha's an expert in the history of goatheads.
Yeah, the invasive nature of that species that came in here and took over everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sheetgrass, but if sheetgrass could pop the tires of your bicycle.
Yeah, and they hurt if you try to pull them. It's crazy. So they're giving away, so if you have been pulling goat heads out, it's 30 pounds they give you a beer or ice cream token for 30 pounds worth of goat heads. And so you can go online and you can see how to do that. So you can get some goat heads pulled before this weekend. You get free beer or free ice cream.
Or then they have a big list of prizes up to like 800 pounds or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the biggest individual gets a prize, and then like there's teams too, and the teams get a prize if they pull like the most pounds of goat heads.
But you probably needed to be doing this already for a while. So this
we should
weekend
have
is
talked
just
about it probably back in July. But this weekend is the party. Which
the party,
which is what we're about. We're not about doing work. We're more about showing up and then saying, "Wow, good job doing work," and then clapping for them and getting drunk.
Yes. And so that's another thing that you could do. And then watch a bunch of crazy people on bicycles, because it sounds like a Tour de Fat type thing, because they're doing like a bicycle parade and people are wearing costumes.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're wrong about any of this Goathead Fest, go ahead and put it in the comments of this video. Or you can email us as well.
Yep.
Contact us through LowerGentryStudios.com.
Yeah, just go right to our webpage. And after you watch all of our content, you can go ahead and email us other questions or concerns about accuracy of our podcast.
All right. Are we good?
Yeah, we should
All right.
probably make sure that we attend that, and you guys should all go attend the Goathead Fest, because it's going to be fun. I think it's one of the biggest things going on this weekend in Boise.
Mm-hmm.
Not to offend anyone if we missed you, but you need to put it up on Facebook or email us if there's an event. And
yes, for sure.
We'll consider endorsing it if we like you.
Only if we like you, though.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for the word of the day?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day.
We've got the word of the day. What will we say?
The word of the day.
You will learn something today. And here it comes.
The word of the day.
Insouciance.
Word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day.
That was the word of the day. What did we say?
I'm not going to repeat it.
That's why every Tuesday we tune in to hear
The word of the day. Excellent.
Thank you. All right. Are we ready to do problem and solution?
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, let's talk about some problems and then let's find out some solutions.
You've got problems. I've got problems. We've got problems. Here's the answer. All right.
So,
What's your problem?
So a famous comedian, Steve Hofstetter, I want to make sure I got his last name right, so I wrote it down. He came into town here in Boise and did a show. He did several shows.
He did 6 shows to be exact.
He did,
and
6.
He did specifically say that 5 of them went great, but then one of them
he got heckled relentlessly from a Boise audience.
I don't know if I'd call it heckled. I would say
what would you call it?
Loudly ignored. Like
loudly ignored. Yeah.
Like ignored very loudly. From the video, I wasn't there. But from the video, it just seemed like it was like 3 or 4 tables of people just drunk and then just not paying attention. Like they just thought it was just a bar, you know? And they're just getting drunk and then just talking to each other while a dude was trying to tell jokes.
Yeah. And
those of you who've been to Liquid Laughs, that would be very annoying if 4 tables, because that's a very small place.
It is. And everybody's relatively close to the stage. It's a great place to go see comedy shows.
Yeah, usually. I'm actually very surprised because every time that I've gone to Liquid Laughs and seen a comedy show, everybody was very reserved and very, very like kind of pinned up and buttoned down and just, laughing at the appropriate times.
Yes.
And then anytime, and even when I hated the comic, I was just like, well, I can't heckle him now because nobody's going to even,
There's no troops to rally behind.
Yeah, I know.
So all the troops were rallied at one of his 6 shows here in Boise. And so it got us thinking about heckling. And for some reason in comedy, it's where it's at. I have been to shows where comedians get heckled.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been to one where a comedian has gotten heckled.
Oh, well, it was when I was in college.
Oh, okay.
So that would have been in South Dakota in 2001 through 2005.
Yeah.
So, but I had...
So you're old and you've seen this before. Cool.
Yes.
Perfect.
Both. And so there is a place, I think, for heckling.
Really?
Especially when it comes to amateurs. And we went to a show, was it 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, where it was just it was national touring comedians, and it was horrendous.
Yeah, nobody was laughing.
You could hear a pin drop.
I remember at that moment, I was thinking, I wish some people would heckle these people off the stage, because as a paying customer, I want to get to the next comedian. But then I also understand that maybe like 50% of the room, or maybe even a lesser percentage, was enjoying the comedian, and then I would be ruining their good time. So I understand like kind of the morality of heckling is very wishy-washy, and then comedians, as just a general rule, hate it. If you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast every once in a while, whenever there's comedians on, they just like sit around and bitch about heckling is the worst thing in the history of the world. Awful people, only awful people heckle. And I will say that's probably true, because I've never actually heckled somebody, and anytime I wanted to, I just thought I don't want to be a jerk. So, but at the same time, though,
people need some of these there's a
how do we give them
negative input?
How do we give them negative input, or just get them off the stage?
Well, to
get them off the stage because they're not funny.
Move them along. The acts that we saw, a lot of them were nationally named acts, and so they automatically got a billing in their ticket because of the fact that they had written for various shows that were popular, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
And so their stage presence was horrendous.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to deliver in front of an audience, and obviously they hadn't gone through the normal route to stand-up comedy fame as most.
I do 5 minutes at an open mic night, and then I build up that 5 minutes to 15, and then maybe one day I'll open for somebody with my 30, and then I get featured for something, and blah blah blah. But it takes years and years and years to get up there,
and these people were doing 15.
Years of crowd work though.
Yes.
And understanding how to deal with drunk people.
And these people didn't have to deal with drunk people, but they had written comedy shows and been on the writing crew, and so they were delivering 20 minutes, and it was awful.
Yeah.
And
I want to make sure that
left.
We just left.
We just left.
I want to make sure that everyone understands we're not talking about the Steve Hofstadter, because Steve Hofstadter is very, very funny.
Yeah, actually, he's has some really awesome videos online of him demolishing hecklers, and I use that in a verbal way of demolishing.
Yeah, like the way that you would see it on YouTube. Demolishes
hecklers. So just look up Steve Hofstadter and look up demolishes hecklers, and you'll see all sorts of videos.
And then also look up the Boise one, because the Boise one's pretty funny too.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good when he gets everybody, and then 4 of the tables gets kicked out and stuff. But then the last one anyway, you can watch it.
He's very quick, very very fast on his feet. So
but
maybe
you have to be. But that's a skill that you actually develop by being disrespected so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what we're finding funny, like the heckler was actually needed in that moment. At least the ones where he's fast. Obviously, like the one in Boise was just kind of bullshit.
Yeah, they were just talking over the top of him, and it sounded like it was very noisy and annoying.
Yeah, but
that's unfortunate.
But now I feel like a jerk, and I feel like I'm endorsing heckling, but I'm not really. Then again, I'm really annoyed when comedians are totally not about heckling, like at all. It's just like they should never exist, and then it's like, but it actually is giving you a skill set a little bit of being even faster in your feet, and then being able to turn an audience around.
Correct. And the reason for heckling, I believe psychologically, is if somebody shouts something out, they feel like they are justified in having the entire audience's attention.
Yeah.
So I do have a very concrete solution.
Really?
For this heckling problem.
Really?
Yes, I do.
So is it going to like divide down the middle? Because I'm like torn whether I should endorse heckling or not endorse it, even though I myself would never heckle because I'm not a bad person.
I challenge a comedy club to take this standpoint. If somebody heckles or talks out loud, audibly, and you can identify that person specifically because they were so loud during a show, they should be required at that moment to go up and do 5 minutes in front of the crowd. And if they nail it, they can keep going, all right? Or everybody applauds them because clearly that heckler was funnier than the person on stage. Yes?
Okay.
Or the audience could even vote.
Yeah, like after the 5 minutes?
After
like,
the 5 minutes.
Do you want this guy to keep on going, or do you want the original stand-up act to go?
After 5 minutes.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, you can split it, and then most of the people, I would bet 99.999% of the people.
We'll go with the original comedy act because then usually the person that's heckling is just a wasted dude.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it would be 5 minutes of just, I don't know. I wonder if a comedian is just on his own volition has ever done this. Just said, get on up here and here's a microphone and just sat and just waited for him to.
I haven't seen that video.
That would be a ballsy move though.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's so many different ways that could fly, that could blow up in your face.
Yeah, exactly. But statistically, the person will do worse than you.
Yeah.
Unless you're being heckled by an actual stand-up comedian, then that might be a little bit
like
iffy.
If you're Carlos Mencia, being heckled by Bill Burr or something. It'll just become a thing between stand-up comedians just trying to steal each other's sets.
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it. But that would also be I guess it might lead to complete chaos.
Yeah.
That might lead to chaos.
There need to be some sort of time scenario where we can only have so many heckles. I don't know though.
Well, you could just do an event just like that and then make it heckle positive. Yeah. And then allow everybody to just come up there.
Yeah. It's just okay, you heckle. It'll be like a gong show, but for stand-up or just only for heckling.
Or maybe a comedy club could just take it and then the audience members would all have to be very funny if they're going to say something.
Yeah, exactly. Or it would just be the worst night of stand-up comedy ever. Or the person would just leave. Actually, I think that would be most of the time.
Yeah.
If you give them the option, you go do 5 minutes or you can just walk out. I bet most of the time they'd just be okay, I'm going to walk out.
Yeah.
Or they'd stand up there for 2 seconds and just be oh, fuck it, and leave.
We'll
and then everybody would either be really scared of heckling or they would be this is the day I'm going to heckle. I got my 5 minutes totally worked out,
Maybe we need to do a comedy club where everybody just at the table, they have microphones. And then it could just change focus whenever somebody has something funny to say.
I think that's a good idea. All right. Did we solve it?
I think so.
All right. So
if you're
Steve
a comedian,
Hofstetter, we're gonna tag you in this. So if you want to take my idea or any of the ideas, Liquid Laughs. There's a plethora of solutions.
If you're a stand-up comedian and you're watching this or listening to it, let us know if that is a viable solution to just have the heckler do 5 minutes. I think that it might start to clear some of the heckling out.
Oh yeah, I think so. Just be absolutely silent if we hear you speak. You leave, or you get on stage and do 5 minutes. Bam! I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
You ready for a joke for a hat?
Yeah, let's do a joke from a hat.
Take a joke from a hat. When you read it, I'll bet that you make someone laugh. It's a joke from a hat.
This week's hat is an Idaho Steelheads.
Good use of the articles there.
Yeah,
Correct
so
articles.
This is Idaho Steelheads hat. So go ahead and take a joke from that hat.
Okay. 3 hats walk into a bar. The bartender asks, "Is this a trick?"
Yes. That was a good joke.
Awful as usual. Very bad.
Well, thank you all very much for joining us. This has been presented again by LowerGentry Studios. You can visit www.lowergentrystudios.com to see original theatrical / web series-ical content. Canyon County is a web series available on YouTube. We Speak is a feature film available on Amazon.com. For Prime members, it's free, or you can rent it for $1.
Good job.
Thank you for tuning in.